The Gulf of Oman, 14:23 hours local time, 47 nautical miles southeast of the Strait of Hormuz, in the open water where the Persian Gulf's constrained geometry gives way to the deeper and more expansive Arabian Sea approaches. The MV Pacific Sentinel is maintaining 11 knots on a course of 128 degrees. She is a 183-meter product tanker sailing under the flag of the Marshall Islands, owned by a Greek shipping company, chartered by a South Korean petrochemical firm, carrying 52,000 tons of refined naphtha from Jubail in Saudi Arabia toward a receiving terminal at Ulsan. Her crew of 22 includes 11 Filipino nationals, 6 Indian nationals, 3 Pakistani nationals, 1 Romanian chief engineer, and 1 Greek master who has been sailing these waters for 23 years and who has spent a significant portion of the past 18 months running the mental calculation that every master in the Gulf of Oman runs now: the IRGC corridor, the safe water, the transit timing, the radio check-in protocol with the Maritime Trade Information Sharing Center in Dubai. He is 43 nautical miles from what he considers the edge of the danger zone. He has been relaxing slightly for the past 12 minutes. At 14:23 hours, 2 IRGC fast patrol boats emerge from behind the tanker's radar shadow at a range of 1.8 nautical miles, a position they achieved by approaching from astern in the ship's radar blind zone, an approach geometry that IRGC maritime operations personnel have been practicing, specifically because commercial vessel radar systems have significant limitations in stern coverage due to the vessel's own superstructure interference. The fast patrol boats, Siraj class, approximately 27 meters, mounting a 23mm autocannon and carrying between 8 and 12 IRGC Navy personnel each, close at 38 knots. They are alongside the Pacific Sentinel within 3 minutes of first appearance. One takes position on the starboard quarter. One takes position at the stern. The autocannon on the starboard boat fires a burst of 23mm rounds across the tanker's bow, a warning signal that the master of the Pacific Sentinel understands immediately and completely. He reduces speed. He picks up the radio handset and transmits a distress signal on channel 16. The distress signal is received by the Maritime Trade Information Sharing Center in Dubai at 14:26 hours. It is received simultaneously by the USS Bataan, LHD-5, a Wasp-class amphibious assault ship operating 68 nautical miles southeast of the Pacific Sentinel's position under amphibious ready group tasking, on the MTISC frequency that the Bataan monitors continuously. The Bataan's commanding officer has been briefed on the developing IRGC operational pattern in the Gulf of Oman for the past 11 days, 3 previous vessel seizures in the past 4 months, all following the same approach pattern, all in the same geographic corridor, all resolved through diplomatic channels after periods ranging from 4 to 22 days, have produced a revised 7th Fleet guidance document on commercial vessel seizure response that reached the Bataan's commanding officer 9 days ago. That guidance document authorized specific response options that previous iterations of Gulf of Oman standing orders did not include. The Bataan's commanding officer reads the Pacific Sentinel's distress position, checks the clock, checks the distance, and makes 3 calls in rapid succession. The first call is to the VBSS team leader, the Naval Special Warfare Operator who commands the visit, board, search, and seizure element currently assigned to the Bataan's embarked force. The VBSS team has been conducting readiness drills aboard the Bataan for 11 days. They have rehearsed the Gulf of Oman seizure response scenario 4 times in the past week. The team leader acknowledges and begins his pre-mission sequence. The second call is to the Aviation Combat Element Commanding Officer, the Marine officer who commands the embarked MV-22 Osprey tilt-rotor aircraft and AH-1Z Viper TAC helicopter detachment. The AH-1Z crew has been at alert 30 minutes to launch. since 0600 hours this morning, a readiness state elevated from the standard alert 60 based on the morning intelligence brief that assessed IRGC maritime seizure activity in the Gulf of Oman as elevated. The aviation CO acknowledges and elevates both AH-1Z crews to Alert 15. The third call is to 7th Fleet's watch officer in Bahrain, transmitting the Pacific Sentinel's distress position and the Bataan's intended response. The watch officer acknowledges, initiates the command notification chain, and authorizes the Bataan to execute the response package within the parameters of the 11-day-old guidance document. Let us understand the IRGC's seizure operation and what they believe they have achieved at 1427 hours, because their assessment of the situation is wrong in ways that will become apparent within the next 90 minutes. The IRGC Navy's commercial vessel seizure program, 14 documented seizures since 2021, with an additional 17 incidents of harassment short of boarding, operates on a specific strategic logic. Each seizure demonstrates Iranian capability to interdict traffic in waters that the IRGC characterizes as within Iran's security sphere, generates diplomatic leverage through the vessel and crew's detention, and provides economic and material benefit through the cargo's potential conversion to Iranian use. The program has been effective at generating the diplomatic process it seeks. Every previous seizure has produced diplomatic engagement, crew negotiations, and eventual release through channels that implicitly validate Iran's ability to hold vessels and their crews as leverage. The IRGC planners who authorized today's operation assessed that the Pacific Sentinel seizure would follow the same pattern. Rapid boarding, crew secured, vessel redirected toward an Iranian port. Diplomatic engagement begins, eventual release after weeks of negotiation. Their plan does not include the USS Bataan being 68 nautical miles away. At 1431 hours, the Pacific Sentinel's IRGC boarding party is fully aboard. The MTISC has confirmed visual contact with the vessel by a commercial drone operated from an Omani Coast Guard station 41 nautical miles away. The drone's feed shows the two fast patrol boats alongside and at least 14 armed personnel on the tanker's deck. The Pacific Sentinel's AIS transponder is still active, her position broadcasting to every tracking service in the world, her course now changing to 340 degrees, north toward the Iranian coast. She is making 9 knots under IRGC direction. At 1437 hours, the first pair of AH-1Z Viper attack helicopters lifts from the Bataan's flight deck. Call signs Sword 1 and Sword 2. The AH-1Z is the Marine Corps' primary attack helicopter, a twin-engine tandem-seat rotary-wing aircraft carrying a 20mm M1973 barrel Gatling cannon, 4 AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, and 2 pods of 70mm Hydra rockets. At maximum cruise speed of 149 knots, Sword 1 and Sword 2 will be overhead the Pacific Sentinel in approximately 26 minutes. Their mission in the first phase is not assault. It is observation, communication, and deterrence. They will establish visual contact with the Pacific Sentinel, make radio contact with the IRGC boarding party commander on the bridge, and transmit the 7th Fleet authorized message. The vessel is to heave to immediately. The IRGC boarding party is to disarm and muster on the ship's stern deck, and the crew is to be released unharmed. The message will be transmitted in English and Farsi, repeated 3 times, with the AH-1Z's 20mm cannon fired in a warning burst into the water ahead of the vessel to emphasize the seriousness of the communication. 4 minutes after the AH-1Z's lift, the MV-22 Osprey, carrying the VBSS team, launches from the Bataan's aft flight deck. The Osprey, call sign ANVIL-1, carries 16 VBSS operators in its cargo bay. the team leader up front monitoring the developing tactical picture via the AN/AAQ 27 forward-looking infrared turret in the MV-22's nose. The Osprey's cruise speed of 280 knots means it will arrive overhead, the Pacific Sentinel, approximately 4 minutes after the AH-1Zs, timed specifically to allow the AH-1Zs to complete their initial communication attempts before the assault element arrives and begins its approach. Now let us talk about the VBSS team and what it is, because its capabilities are often poorly understood outside the special operations community, and its role in this operation reflects a specific and deliberately developed American capability that the IRGC's seizure doctrine has not adequately accounted for. The Naval Special Warfare VBSS team assigned to the Bataan consists of 16 operators, Navy SEALs, SWCC personnel, and maritime interdiction specialists, who have been trained specifically for the maritime direct action mission against defended vessels. They have qualified on the Pacific Sentinel class vessel type. They have studied the deck plan, the access points, the interior compartment layout, the engine room position, and the bridge configuration of this exact tanker design. They have practiced fast rope insertion from the MV-22 Osprey onto a moving vessel deck approximately 12 times in the past 8 weeks. Their communications are encrypted and redundant. Their weapons are suppressed and calibrated for the specific engagement geometry of a crowded vessel with a civilian crew present. They know where the IRGC boarding party is most likely to position itself, based on 11 previous seizures and the drone footage of the current vessel that is being relayed to ANVIL-1's display in real time from the Omani Coast Guard station. At 15:03 hours, Sword 1 achieves radio contact with the Pacific Sentinel's bridge. The AH-1Z's crew transmits the authorized message, "Heave to, disarm, muster on stern." The IRGC commander on the bridge responds in Farsi, a brief transmission that Sword 1's interpreter translates as a demand that the American aircraft maintain distance and a statement that the vessel is proceeding to an Iranian port under IRGC authority. The response is professional in its confidence. It is the response of someone who has conducted this operation before and who expects the diplomatic escalation cycle to proceed in the same direction it has always proceeded. He has not processed the implication of an attack helicopter speaking to him rather than a Coast Guard cutter. Sword 1 fires a 1.2-second burst from the M197 cannon into the water 200 meters ahead of the Pacific Sentinel's bow. 40 rounds of 20 millimeters at 750 rounds per minute, visible from the bridge as a line of white splashes tracking from right to left across the ship's approach path. The message transmission is repeated. The Pacific Sentinel does not heave to. Her speed drops marginally, from 9 knots to 7 knots, but she maintains course 340. At 15:07 hours, Sword 1 transmits to ANVIL-1 and the Bataan, compliance not achieved, proceeding to Phase 2. The VBSS team leader in ANVIL-1's cargo bay receives the call and begins his team's final preparation sequence. The Osprey descends from 1,800 feet to 80 feet above the water, approaching the Pacific Sentinel from her port side. The approach bearing that the drone footage confirms has the fewest IRGC personnel visible on deck. The AH-1Zs move to overwatch positions on both sides of the vessel, Sword 1 to starboard and Sword 2 to port. Their M197 cannons trained on the main deck positions where IRGC personnel are visible through the AH-1Z's targeting system. The ANVIL-1 Osprey crosses the Pacific Sentinel's port beam at 15:09 hours and 14 seconds, matching the ship's 7-knot forward speed, descending to 35 feet above the deck. The first fast rope deploys from the Osprey's cargo ramp at 15:09 hours and 22 seconds. 4 VBSS operators are on the deck within 8 seconds of first rope contact. 8 operators on deck within 18 seconds. The remaining 4 hold in the Osprey as a reserve element. The 8 operators on deck move in 2 4-man elements, executing the pre-planned assault sequence. Element 1 moves forward toward the bridge house, securing the exterior access points and the main deck space amidships. Element 2 moves aft toward the position where the drone feed confirmed 4 IRGC personnel stationed near the stern mooring equipment. The IRGC personnel on deck observe the Osprey's approach. Their reaction time from first visual contact on the descending aircraft to the moment the first operator is on deck is estimated at 11 seconds, which is not sufficient to mount an effective coordinated response to 8 trained operators inserting simultaneously from multiple points on a fast rope. 2 IRGC personnel at the stern position are secured by Element 2 at 15:09 hours and 51 seconds, 29 seconds after first rope contact. 2 more IRGC personnel attempt to move toward the bridge house and are intercepted by Element 1's trail pair at the base of the external bridge ladder. The IRGC commander on the bridge receives radio communications from his deck personnel that are becoming increasingly fragmented. At 15:11 hours, Sword 2 fires a second warning burst from the M197 cannon, this time into the water directly astern of the vessel, 50 meters off the stern, a demonstration that the Overwatch helicopters have maintained precise targeting solutions throughout the boarding sequence, and that any attempt to use the vessel's own equipment against the VBSS operators will be addressed immediately. At 15:11 hours and 40 seconds, the Pacific Sentinel's engines stop. The vessel begins to coast. Element 1 reaches the bridge deck at 15:12 hours and 18 seconds. The bridge door opens from the inside. The IRGC commander, who has had 68 seconds to assess the situation on his deck and has reached the professional conclusion that the variables have changed irreversibly, steps out with his hands visible and empty. He is the senior IRGC officer aboard. 7 IRGC Navy personnel are secured on the bridge. Element 2 has secured 6 IRGC personnel on the main deck and stern. 1 IRGC personnel is located in the engine room at 15:14 hours by the VBSS team's engineer pair, who conducted the engine room clearance as a separate concurrent element once the main deck was secured. 14 IRGC Navy personnel in total, all 14 secured. The Pacific Sentinel's crew, 22 civilian mariners, who spent 48 minutes in the vessel's muster station following standard seizure response procedures, are confirmed safe at 15:16 hours when the team leader conducts his crew accounting. From first fast rope contact to all clear, 6 minutes and 54 seconds. The IRGC fast patrol boats, which had been holding at 400-meter standoff positions on either side of the tanker since the initial approach of the AH-1Zs at 14:58 hours, have been under continuous targeting by Sword 1 and Sword 2 throughout the boarding operation. At 15:11 hours, the moment the Pacific Sentinel's engines stopped, both fast patrol boats accelerated to maximum speed on northerly headings toward Iranian territorial waters. The AH-1Zs did not pursue. Their mission was force protection for the VBSS operation, not interdiction of withdrawing patrol craft. The patrol boats exit the operational area at 15:19 hours and cross into Iranian territorial waters at 15:31 hours. The USS Bataan, which has been closing at 25 knots since the AH-1Zs launched, arrives on scene at 15:38 hours. A second MV-22 Osprey delivers 3 additional support personnel and a naval intelligence team. A rigid hull inflatable boat from the Bataan's well deck takes the 14 secured IRGC personnel aboard for transfer to the ship. The Pacific Sentinel's master receives a visit from a Navy medical team at 15:41 hours, standard procedure after any vessel seizure response, assessing crew welfare and documenting any physical effects of the incident. The crew is shaken. Nobody is physically injured. The master's first request after the medical team is to know when he can resume his transit to Ulsan. The Bataan's liaison officer tells him 90 minutes pending vessel inspection. At 17:20 hours, the Pacific Sentinel resumes course 128 toward the Strait of Hormuz exit into the Gulf of Oman, proceeding at 11 knots under escort by the USS Gettysburg, CG-64, the Ticonderoga-class cruiser that has been repositioned from her patrol station to escort the tanker through the final exit corridor. The MTISC in Dubai has been updated. The Pacific Sentinel's AIS track is broadcasting normally. She will enter the Gulf of Oman proper at 18:47 hours, and her escort will break off at the 22 nautical mile standard maritime security boundary. Let us now address what the IRGC's commercial vessel seizure program achieved today and what it failed to achieve. Because the tactical result, 14 IRGC personnel in American custody, a retrieved vessel, and unharmed crew, a seizure operation reversed in 6 minutes and 54 seconds, is only the surface layer of a more significant strategic outcome. The IRGC's commercial vessel seizure program has operated on a specific assumption since its current iteration began in 2021, that American response options to individual vessel seizures are constrained by the same combination of diplomatic risk, escalation caution, and operational distance that has historically prevented robust American military responses to Iranian maritime coercion. Each previous seizure produced negotiations, not boarding operations. Each previous seizure was resolved through diplomatic channels that implicitly acknowledged Iran's ability to detain vessels and crews as leverage. The pattern created an expectation that the costs of seizure were manageable and the benefits, diplomatic leverage, demonstration of regional influence, harassment of shipping, that Iran characterizes as operating in its security sphere, were achievable at acceptable risk. Today's operation introduced a variable the IRGC's calculus did not adequately account for: a WASP-class amphibious assault ship with a VBSS, capable Special Operations Team, Marine Attack Aviation, and an updated command guidance authorizing maritime direct action in response to vessel seizures, operating at 68 nautical miles from the point of interception. The response time from distress signal to operators on deck was 43 minutes. The response time from operators on deck to all clear was 6 minutes and 54 seconds. The total elapsed time from the Pacific Sentinel's Channel 16 transmission to the vessel being fully back under its cruise control, 50 minutes. 50 minutes. That is the measure of what the IRGC's most professional maritime seizure team, operating the same fast patrol boats, the same boarding procedures, the same communication security protocols that have produced 14 successful seizures, achieved today. They held a tanker for 50 minutes, secured it for no meaningful duration, and lost 14 personnel to American custody in exchange. The fast patrol boats that delivered them are back in Iranian waters. The tanker is proceeding to Ulsan. The 14 IRGC Navy personnel now aboard the USS Bataan will be processed under the legal framework applicable to their status as foreign military personnel who conducted an unlawful seizure of a flagged commercial vessel in international waters, a status that the Department of Defense's legal advisors have been preparing documentation for since the updated Gulf of Oman response guidance was issued 9 days ago. Their identities, unit affiliations, and roles within the IRGC Navy's maritime operations structure will be documented. This documentation will be shared with allied intelligence services, contributing to the characterization of the IRGC Navy's seizure program's personnel and organizational structure. The Pacific Sentinel's master is at the bridge wing as the Gulf of Oman opens ahead of him. 23 years of sailing these waters, 14 armed IRGC personnel on his ship for 50 minutes, 6 minutes and 54 seconds to get them off. He has filed his incident report with Lloyd's and with the MTISC and with the Marshall Islands Flag Registry and with the Korean charterer. He will be in Ulsan on schedule. Not on the original schedule, 3 hours late, but on schedule from the moment the Bataan arrived on scene, 3 hours. That is the additional delay the IRGC Maritime seizure program imposed on the Pacific Sentinel's transit schedule today. The economic cost of 3 hours of delay for a 52,000-ton product tanker is approximately $35,000. The diplomatic, intelligence, and operational cost to the IRGC of losing 14 personnel and having a seizure operation reversed in 50 minutes by a boarding team that was in the air before the Pacific Sentinel's crew had reached their muster station, considerably more than $35,000. The Gulf of Oman is 350 nautical miles long and 320 nautical miles wide. It connects the world's petroleum supply to the world's refineries. The IRGC's Maritime Seizure Program has treated it as a harassment space where the cost of coercion was lower than the cost of the American response. Today, the cost calculation changed. The USS Bataan is back on her patrol station. The Gettysburg is escorting the Pacific Sentinel to the exit corridor. The 14 IRGC personnel are in the Bataan's brig. And somewhere in a Bandar Abbas operations center, someone is explaining to their superiors why a 50-minute seizure ended with a 6-minute 54-second boarding operation and 14 of their people in American custody. Bye for now.